Hey, what's up? I'm LP and welcome back. Today we're checking out this, the 2017 E-Class, the E250 to be exact, in this Avantgarde sport trim. The E-Class competes with the likes of the brutal BMW 5 Series, the sensible Audi A6, and the reliability king Lexus GS or the ES. But nothing on the road commands presence like this E-Class. No matter what engine you go for optics, the E-Class takes it. They don't call this a baby S-Class for nothing, because if the car passed really fast, you didn't know the difference between the C-Class, the E-Class, or the S-Class. And that's a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. But one way to know the difference between the cars is through the lights. The E-Class has these two DRLs, the C-Class has one DRL, and the S-Class has three. So that's the easiest way, if the car is coming towards you, for you to know what is what or what is coming. Come to the side. In this Avantgarde Sport, with a sporty look, you get lowered suspension, 19-inch rims, and these ones are wrapped in Michelin Primacy 3 tires. Not sponsored, but Michelin, mnaweza kuja. The rear end is the most confusing. If I cover the badge, telling if it's an S-Class, a C-Class, or this is pretty hard. But yeah, I'll save you guys the headache and just have it there. Most guys will remove the badge to confuse guys even more, to know if it's either an AMG line or an AMG on itself. Here you get dual pipes. You have the housing there, but you have the pipes inside, so they're not really like full on exhaust pipes. You have parking sensors and this really nice light at night. They have this crystal effect because of how the design has been put, and it looks really nice. Your rear view camera is hidden under here and only comes out when you put reverse. So when it pops out to stay clean. Getting in, you press the button and it opens electronically. You get a pretty big space here at the back. You can put a number of suitcases easily for road trips, for small shoppings up and pale. You can do that. You can drop the rear seats with these latches on the sides here, and they feel pretty flimsy, and I bet the guys who've broken that one way or the other trying to drop the seats. And your seat floor here, you have this thing that you can hook up there, just keep it away as you're putting stuff in your underfloor storage here at the back. And it's a good size again, but you can put a spare tire in here. So if you're putting a spare tire, you'd have to leave it in the boot to just roam around and take space. You have some netting on the side this way, some tie down points around the back, plus this hook where you can hook your shopping or things that you don't want to move around here at the back. You can have that there. And up top, you have your lifesaver. So if the car gets a puncture, you can remove this and set it up so you don't have to have the full size one. This one saves space and looks good up there. Closing your boot, you press the button as you walk to the driver's seat and drive off. Here at the back, because the door doesn't open all the way out and the car is pretty low, entry and exit is not the easiest. And you don't get much room again for that entry itself. So you'll have issues putting in child seats and all that. You have two child seat isofix places for the two outer seats. The door gives a really heavy sound when you close it. So you can have reassurance that safety here at the back is pretty good. This is in my sitting position. You can see the space I have on my knees and for headspace. Even though we have the sunroof, I still have enough headspace to be chill here at the back. Comfort, it's okay. It's not the best. I feel like in this E-Class itself, the car has become smaller because I have less space, even for my feet, in my driving position. Unless if it was somebody smaller on the driving seat, maybe it would be a different case. That's for it here at the back. Materials are, you get soft material all the way to the bottom, but it's a similar thing where you find in some places they put the plastic behind the leather. So you touch it and you feel, you cringe when your hand touches it. And it really makes it feel not as luxurious as it seems to be from the outside. The leather is a leatherette material, so it's not real leather, but it still feels good and looks good. Comfort with the armrest down. You can take the armrest individually. You have space under here to keep some things, and you have 2 cup holders that pop from the front there. And what I like is you can drop the center seat by itself. I don't like the feeling of that button. Feels very cheap plastics in here. Same thing comes to the center console here. You have this really cheap feeling plastic there. And even the back of the seats, you still have that here. It's not quality inspiring here at the Mac. And yeah, it's not really impressive. You get airplane style backseat pockets. You get space on the door cards that will fit my big bottle, so that's a plus. And here on the center console, you have a small storage for ash and a 12-volt socket, second lighter kind of port there for charging your device and stuff. You have a really big transitional tunnel, so anybody sitting in the center, you find, okay, you'll be eating food space for the outer passengers, and fitting 3 gears here at the back will be kind of a squeeze for shoulder room. Yeah, for 3 adults. Maybe a small kid at the center place won't be much of an issue. But yeah, in the end, I still think it's a 2+2. Just put your armrest down and have the 2 gears be comfortable, especially being that you have a secondary sunroof here at the back. So yeah, for connectivity, it's just that one 12-volt socket there, and that's it. You have the Burmester speaker grills that look like art here at the back, and it sounds pretty good. The seats can be heated and cooled, but in this version, you get the heated side of things, which I wish it was cool, especially right now in this kind of warm weather. You can see I'm dripping. The seats can be dropped individually, as I said, from the back. So you can drop this side and can drop this side, depending on what you want, if you want to put more things in the boot. And yeah, that's the back seat. Let's get to the front seats and see what you have there. Getting comfortable and just the whole feel of being at the front of the E-Class, it's a really nice place to be in. Everything looks premium, everything looks really nice to the eyes, and I like how it feels, or I like how it makes me feel when being in here. Even if I want to need to pick some things, like the plastics don't feel as premium, or the materials some places don't feel as premium. Like now on the door handle, there's some plastics on the area that you touch, which, yeah, lower the grade of the car. And just generally speaking, there's some things you touch here and there that won't really feel like the money you've spent in this car. But the screen takes the show. The wood veneer that's been put, the vents, the steering wheel, it's a really nice place to be, so I can't fault it for that. For materials, I'll give it, let me say, a rating of 6 out of 10, because it looks good, but some things that you touch don't feel so good. The seats are good. You don't have much wear and tear on the seats, and they hold you pretty well with the side bolsters and stuff. Then you get these really big door cards that actually fit my big bottle. You get 2 cup holders here, a space for your key, and you can actually even move the cup holder if you want to just use the whole space. Keep this somewhere like on your glove box or at home. In the center here, it opens like gold wing doors, and you get an okay space for your glove box. But again, you see those plastics I was talking about that make the car feel a bit cheaper than it is. Coming to your glove box here, you get, it's not even a glove box, it's basically a space for your phone plus a spot for the perfume that you can circulate through your air vents to keep the car smelling good and nice. You get a number of tech features in this car. Aside from the door, you get adjustable seats with 3 memory settings. So you have for yourself, your partner, and your other partner. And you can move the left seat by just pressing this button and control it whichever you want. So your passenger princess doesn't have to do anything. You can do all that for them here. The Burmester speakers are really good. And what helps is that you have a subwoofer embedded in the dashboard, so you feel the punchiness of everything. You have your driver aids on your right hand side. Here is where the BBS class comes in, where you get this dual 12.3-inch screens, and they really look good. And it's just a really nice look. You can control the driver screen with the right hand buttons on the steering wheel, And on the left side buttons, you control your multimedia screen on this side. Even if you want to change the gauges, you just check from now, this is the progressive look. You can go to a classic look, or you can go to the sporty look, where you get this on like the AMG versions. But I prefer the progressive look. It just looks minimal and looks good. The center bit, if coming here, you have your dynamic select, so you can have sport plus, and all that. Coming down, you have your parking sets as off. You have your surround view cameras. So if you want to park in a small area, you can choose. If you want to see the front camera, the rear camera, the side cameras, to help you fit in parking spaces better. Another that, you have auto start stop, home button, and power on and off for the screen. You have this rotary wheel here to control the screen, as you can see there. And behind that, you have this touch pad where you can just rest your hand and use the rotary wheel, or you can use it as for functions, because you have your back button, home button, and next or skip to the next track if you're playing music or whatever. You have your HVAC buttons here, and it looks good, though it doesn't feel as premium as they look. The clickiness is not as clicky as you expect. Under that, you have your shortcut buttons to your navigation, radio, media, telephone, car settings, hazards, and you have the Mercedes-Benz clock right there. Under this, you have a 12-volt cigarette lighter kind of port. No USB-Cs here, but you get USB-A functions, 2 USB-As here, plus an SD card to charge your phone, connect to the system, and all that. Up top, you have your SOS button. You have space to put your sunglasses and receivers to receive your voice when you're on phone calls and such stuff. Other than that, I like the steering wheel, the way how chunky it feels. You have shift paddles at the back. You have your cruise control here, your knob to move your steering wheel up and down and towards you to adjust it, your gear selector, and your wipers and stuff on the other side. You can buy the Mercedes perfume dispenser and put it here, either at your Mercedes dealership or aftermarket dealers who supply that kind of stuff. So it will blow whatever fragrance you've decided to have there through the vents. Just have the car smelling good, and as I said, it's a flex. Optics, up on your optics. Yeah. So that's one flex you can have, other than having those things that hang right here on your car. So that's the front seats. Let's get to the bonnet and see what we have there. In this car, you get a 2-liter turbocharged engine with 211 horsepower and 350 Newton meters of torque, paired to a 9-speed transmission, and it's rear-wheel drive. The 9-speed is better than the 7-speed because it's smoother, it's better with fuel economy and all that stuff. And the 2-liter is reliable, but they push too much power out of it, so in the long run, it won't be that reliable. Common issues on the exterior are: 1, the lights. The DRLs might go off, or LEDs inside the light might just stop working. For the sportier trims, because they have low-profile tires, if you hit potholes, your tires might not survive. Paint. This car has the diamond white paint, and most guys do not replicate it. So if you scratch it, or if you get the car hit, get yourself a qualified mechanic or qualified body shop to respray your paint, or it will turn yellow and we'll see it. The sunroof, if the seals are not cleaned up regularly, it might clog up and have water running into the interior of the car and destroy the fuses along the body sides. Lastly are the sensors around the car. 1, on the doors, the parking sensors, they will just stop working or have sporadic attacks where they lose their minds. So keep a watch on those things and see if they work before you put your hard-earned money on purchasing a car like this. Common interior issues are things like this: the screen, the 12.3-inch screen might freeze or just go black from nowhere, but an update usually fixes this. Another thing you get is squeaks and creaks on the dashboard if you're on uneven roads and along the door sills. Lastly, if you get the piano black center console, if you wipe with your hand or a rough cloth, you might find scratches developing on the center console. So most guys will put a wrap on it, or just get one that has this wood veneer on it, so it won't have all those small issues. And that brings me to the mechanical issues that you'll get in this specific car. The knock sensor is where the sensor fails due to fuel quality or heat, triggering a check engine light, and replacing one is pretty expensive. Second thing you find is the wrist pin ticking. On the M274 engine, we listen for metallic clicking when you start the car when it's cold. If it doesn't go away after 5 minutes, it's a piston wrist pin issue. Very expensive again to fix. The 9G-tronic transmission. This 9-speed gearbox is great, but it must be serviced every 60 to 80 kilometers. If you ignore it, the shifts become jerky, and a new transmission, again, is very expensive. The auxiliary battery issue. You'll see this on the dash. It's actually a small capacitor under the passenger footwell. It's a common 2-year replacement item. So just keep that at the back of your mind and replace it before it gives you issues with the start-stop functions and other small functions inside the car. Is it worth the money? Well, it depends what you're going for. If you're going for optics, there's nothing that beats this on the road, really. But I would say personally, if you're going for a car in this bracket, check the other cars first. The BMW, the Audi A6, or the Lexus, and see what tickles your fancy. This car is actually for sale at Automagnet. It's opposite Rubis, Valley Arcade. Go check it out. Tell them I sent you. And I'm LP. I'll catch you guys on the next video.